Sex Party with your host, Dustin Rybka.
Hello and welcome to Sex Party. I'm your host, Dustin Rybka. I've got a big episode for you. With me on the show this week is super popular adult star and OnlyFans creator, Jasmine Sherni. Jasmine did a scene for Brazzers where she was in full cultural gear and she gave a huge blowjob, a foot job, had sex. The ad for that Brazzers scene went viral and kind of became a pop culture moment across the internet and set her career ablaze. We talk about that. We talk about what she's been up to in the mainstream. We talk about what she's up to on OnlyFans, her background in BDSM and kink, being a dom, being a sub, switching it up, all of the things. We also talk about what she is up to in 2025. And if that weren't enough, we talk about her getting off and masturbating to her own content. So, without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Jasmine Sherni.
This week's conversation.
Jasmine Sherni, welcome to Sex Party. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing really well. How are you doing? How'd your day start?
Oh my God. It was like being shot out of a cannon, like without clothes on, basically, is how my day started.
Did like a bunch of little people surround you and demand that you have a sex party, like straight out of bed? Did they launch you out of bed and do that?
Not this morning, but like last week that happened. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's not uncommon. Got it.
Yeah.
It tracks with the name of the podcast.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, shit's always like fucking carnival crazy around these parts. Anyway, there's always like high risk, high reward things happening. But you know, it's like I'm 2 double espressos deep and I still feel like I need to like pull an arrow out of my head. I don't know what's going on.
That's big. That's big. What kind of espresso do you make it at home? Do you buy it? Do you order it?
So, I bought my girlfriend like for Christmas, like the doozy, like the deluxe Nespresso, like coffee bar, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, she's got to have the milk frother for the fucking soy milk, you know, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And like the tray that slides out. And then people who listen or watch the show will know, like, I was a nut for sugar-free Red Bull. Like I was fucking addicted to sugar-free Red Bull.
I did hear that on one of your podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone's like, it's so bad for you. It's so bad for you. And even like lovely guests that would come on who are like really health intelligent and be like, you got to dump the Red Bull, just go to coffee. And I resisted it forever, but my stomach was like trashed, even though it's sugar-free and whatever. So now, you know, I'm listening to the guests, I'm listening to the girlfriend, and it's like we're doing espresso instead, and my stomach problems are fucking gone.
Oh,
which
really?
is great. Yeah, crazy, right?
Shit, congrats.
Thank you so much. What do you do for in the morning for fucking energy and shit? I mean, you're a fucking crazy busy person.
Okay. So one, I also have an espresso machine.
Okay.
It was actually one of the first gifts that I had, like what you would call like a whale of a fan, like a white whale. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. Are you?
We are, but you should explain it for the audience.
Okay, yeah. So a whale, or like a white whale, that is like a fan or someone who comes and like they really spoil you a ton. They put a ton of money into you. They buy a lot of stuff. They tip you really well. They'll send you money. This guy, like, he bought out my entire Amazon wish list. It was thankfully at a time where I had just like, I was like, I don't know, I'll put things on there like this Nespresso machine that I was like, I don't know, this is like a lot of money. I was like, I don't think anyone's going to buy it, but I'll put it on there just in case. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, he bought it. And he bought like everything. So yeah, I get up, I use 2 Nespresso pods. And like a 1/4 cup of fat-free milk and like a touch of coconut creamer. I probably have about 2 of those before like 9 a.m. But I also do daily NAD injections. I don't know if you know what NAD is. It's a coenzyme. Really helps and like excite your mitochondria, elevate like your metabolism and your energy levels, and that has helped a ton.
Okay. Well, when we stop recording this, I'm gonna hit you. I want to know for myself about the NAD plus injections because I have a lot to say, and we'll talk about that. But like, I love
My wellness
that.
doctor is actually in Chicago, so it works for you.
Oh
If you
shit!
wanna
Yeah.
link, you know.
No. I need the
Yeah.
I need the plug
I've
on
got
the
the plug.
NAD.
I got the plug for you.
Yeah,
Yay!
yeah. Okay, so people listening should know who you are, but let's just say that somebody, had a drug problem and they just like did too much coke, or they were like, they were doing too much meth for a while. They got mixed up the last couple years, and maybe they're living like, in a trailer park somewhere, and then now they finally got clean and their mind is back to where whatever, and they're like, I found this podcast, this guy's a fucking douchebag, but he's got great guests, he asks like wacky
Ooh.
questions. Who is this person? So for those people who may have had a meth and or pill addiction the last couple of years,
Or
and they don't,
anything, maybe,
yeah,
who
maybe they're in a
knows? Who knows?
coma, maybe
Yeah.
they were like in some weird religious practice where they couldn't listen to podcasts or watch porn. Let's just say they don't know who you are. Could you talk about who you are and what you do?
Dustin, I love the inclusivity of like, you're trying to make sure that everyone is on the same page. I just want to go ahead and say that for starters. And
Yeah.
then, and to be fair, I feel like there are people, whether they're telling the truth or not, I feel like even at fan expos, like I've had people come up to me like, oh, I have no idea who you are. I don't even watch porn. I'm like, that's crazy because you're here.
Yeah. Why would you be
But
there if
okay.
you're not watching
Yeah.
porn?
Yeah. But for anyone who doesn't know, hi, I'm Jasmine Sherni. I started in the porn industry a little over a year ago now. I just finished up my debut year. I am Punjabi or Pakistani American, first generation. I got into porn after being a nurse. I was a critical care nurse, and decided that I wanted to take my like lifestyle modeling into more serious territory. And then like really quickly that snowballed into being like, okay, I'm going to go into OF, and then from OF to porn.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll dive into some of the origin story, like even maybe maybe this will be so wild we won't even have time, but I like to like bust out the origin story like midway, later, whatever, so we have a nice
Whenever you want, whenever you want to
framework.
bust it, it's fine.
Yeah. I just don't like being that guy who's like, oh, welcome to the show, how'd you get into porn? I'm just not that guy.
That's super fair.
Yeah, it's like, let's talk about Nespresso machines for 20 minutes.
Oh
whatever.
my God. I love Nespresso. I really do. And it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
I
No,
miss
you
it when I
gotta.
travel.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah. Then you go to like a place and they just have like, well, we got the pot of coffee. You're like, oh fuck.
You know what's really good? Like a mocha pot.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like where they make the little Cuban coffees out of, like the little.
I've seen them, but like my coffee, it's weird. Like when it comes to certain things, I'm very like James Bondy. Like when it comes to like, okay, this one cocktail, blah, 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 or like this like certain cut of a suit, like got you. But then it's like coffee. I'm like, huh? Like I'm not educated in the coffee game, and I really, really need to be. Yeah.
Super fair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the one thing that we have these wonderful notes from Erica Icon, she's the fucking bomb. She hates when I do this every time that I have her guest on the. She just has a problem with. Out. Yeah, yeah.
I love her.
But we love Erica Icon. She provides the best notes. She's just such a great person. She's kind. She has the best fucking clientele. I've had a lot of her people like yourself on the show. And in the notes, it reminded me that you pretty much like you went viral, and which is funny because I'm wearing a Brazzers.
I know. I was like, did you wear that? I was like,
no.
Did you come prepared? I was like,
no.
Dang, as soon as we turned on the cameras, I was like, oh, how dare you wear Brazzers and I'm not wearing Brazzers. I feel like everyone is like, Jasmine, you're always wearing Brazzers. Brazzers. And I'm like, well, they've given me a lot of money and they've given me a lot of publicity, to the point where people had started to think, they were like, oh, I thought you were contracting with Brazzers because you're always repping Brazzers gear. You're always like on a Brazzers set. And I was like, no, I'm not. But yeah, you're right. I did. Yeah. I did my first scene. I immediately went viral, more viral than I could have ever imagined. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy. it was definitely one of those days where it was like, I don't know, the scene was very tailored to me. It felt super important and beautiful that this was going to be my first scene. I was so grateful to have Brazzers be my first company that I shot with, because I was like, wow, this is like being like, I want to be an actress. And then like you get the star role in like a major Disney film,
Yeah.
you know? And I was just like, wow. And I remember at the end of the day, I was like, what if this is so bad? I was like, everyone's saying nice things. They're saying I did great. I was like, but what if they're just saying that to be nice? I was like, and then for the next month, I convinced myself that it was so bad that they were never going to release it. And I was a horrible performer.
Oh my God. Oh my
It
God.
just took off like
Yeah.
insane. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really
Well,
beautiful start.
well, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I feel like you went viral for the fucking Brazzers porn ad that they put out for it, because, and you could tell them what it is and whatever, because I don't want to fucking, but
Yeah.
yeah, tell us about what the scene, what the ad was, because it's kind of,
Okay.
it's kind of wild.
It's different. It was
Yeah.
different. It was different. Yeah. So to give a little backstory, I had met the director, Marvin, socially, and we ended up linking up and traveling in Europe. And while we were traveling, he had asked me, he was like, I had shot like an interview with someone else, with another porn company, just an interview. And he was like, hey, would you ever consider like shooting for Brazzers? And I was like, oh my God, I would love to. And he had already seen like my social media, and that like, hi, I'm South Asian, and that I had like, pictures and videos with saris on. He was like, would you be interested in doing something in a sari? And I was like, of course I would. I was like, oh my God, I would love to. And you're like, okay, well, I'm going to send this over. We'll see. Sometimes they say yes to things, sometimes they don't, who knows?
Yeah.
And then it was like, yes, we're doing it. We're onboarding. Again, it was like one of these things of like kind of like a hurry up and wait. And then I got the script, and yeah, it was it's called A Bollywood Tale. So the premise is that I'm getting ready to go to like a Punjabi party with my boyfriend, and I end up, cheating on him and with my friend's boyfriend, of course, while he's fucking my friend, apparently.
Oh, okay. So it's
And after I gave him a foot job in like the middle of the hallway. Yeah,
yeah.
right. Because like
Yeah.
that's how it happened. Like
Yeah.
you're just playfully running, and all of a sudden you're like, you want these feet? I know you want these feet. Come here. Let me get these toes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, which to
Yeah.
be fair, even before that, I had done a fair amount of foot fetish content on my own pages. So I was like, this is going to do well. I was like, that's great. I did not
Yeah.
realize whenever before I got the script that week that I was like, Brazzers is going to have my first foot job scene ever. And to this date, they have my only full foot job scene.
Wow.
And it is actually really hard to find a male performer who is so into feet, are into feet enough that they are willing to just do a pure foot job scene. And I'm like, y'all have no idea how much this is requested. And I'm like, you will make so much money. And at this point, I'm just like, I think I've kind of retired to the fact that this summer I'll probably pay someone to just get it. Because I'm like, okay, cool. It won't sell for you. It'll sell ridiculous for me.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think it was the first time. I had so many fans reach out to me and talk to me. It was beautiful. It was overwhelming. It was just, so many people who came to just tell me, they're like, I have never seen anyone who looked like me in porn. People who are like, this is my first time actually being moved enough to watch porn, because are like really enjoy it, because I had never seen anything like this. I'd never seen these things. There were like, and men, women, all sexualities of people coming to me and just being like, wow, I've never seen this. Who are you? Tell me more about you. Like, and really feeling like I could give or help to give that platform to a lot of people who hadn't seen themselves in this way.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I think that's giant and fucking awesome. And that's another, again, like on the show, I find that, porn does so much more than just like bust nuts for people. And
yeah.
And
that is all that, like, a lot of people are like, oh, you must just be over there like cranking it. I was like, yeah, there are plenty of those people. But it does do so much more for so many people.
Yeah. And I just had this conversation with someone, and I don't know, I've recorded like 20 episodes in the last 2 weeks. So I'm like my brain's like fritzing out right now.
You're totally fair. I got
But
you. I got you, you know?
yeah. Well, I got you. This is gonna be an awesome episode.
Yay!
But I just had this conversation that, you know, we're in this weird sort of state of the world right now, and like, you know, without getting, I don't give a shit who you voted for. You can listen and watch and whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody probably knows how I feel about stuff. But listen, regardless of how regardless of how you feel, shit's fucking weird, right? And
Shit's really fucking weird right
yeah,
now.
for real. And I find myself asking, like, where, like, you mean to tell me in the last 30 years we haven't had a single like Rage Against the Machine band or Nirvana where it's like fuck it all, rebel, kind of like, where did all that go? So for me, I think
in the past 30 years, you don't think anyone's put out that type of music?
not on that level. And like,
Maybe
listen,
people who aren't big. My favorite band is Foxy Shazam. And during Black Lives Matter and all the protests, they actually released, I don't know if it was the whole album, but like they had a track that was like Burn, and they were literally like burn it all to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, you know what? I knew this is why I loved y'all.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's weird to me that stuff isn't like, something is happening where it's either like people are like, well, I mean, you look at like a lineup like Lollapalooza or Coachella, and it's like, who's the rebel here? Like, what happened to like the rebellion? Like, the most rock and roll thing I've seen in music, I think, and this is like, and I'll make a fucking astute point. It was like when I saw like Little Nas X 3 years ago, like do a cartwheel upside down and like shake his cock in front of another man's face. I'm like, that's rock and roll. That was on Saturday Night Live. That made people uncomfortable. I'm like, let's go, whatever. But then I started thinking more as I've done this podcast, and I'm like, you know what? Porn is the last frontier of rock and roll, because we're, you know, the only people rebelling against stuff and have something really, really to lose are the people that are creating porn, and they're like, you know, there's trans, you know, LGBTQ, or there's fucking like taboo shit. Like, we're not going to change the fucking mom swap scene, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? So
that
it's like,
is really fair of saying like, how are you raging against a really big societal issue? Are you doing that?
Yeah.
So one quick point though, we're just gonna put this over here.
Of course.
Pussy Riot. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Fuck
I'm just gonna throw it out there.
But,
okay. Anyway, we'll, you know, there will be notes. I'll send you an email.
Yeah, I mean, there's great acts. I just feel like for some reason the public is not embracing Foxy Shazam and Pussy Riot and fucking and you don't see anybody on the Grammys like fucking like being like, you know, making a stand about capitalism or whatever. It's like all gone away. And listen, I dig it. Do your Dua Lipa, Sabrina Carpenter thing. I'm here for it. I fucking great. But somebody's got to be like, yo, the government's really. Yeah, a little bit.
But I hear you. How about this? She's maybe not rock and roll, but she definitely made some anti-capitalism and very trans, like pro-trans. I don't know. Did you listen to her like Grammy stuff where she was talking about like healthcare and like rights?
Yeah. And she just actually had like, she had a interview on Call Her Daddy actually this recently. And she said that she's never, and then I love that she said this, she's never met someone with kids who's happy. And I was like, rock the fuck on. Like, neither have I, actually.
That's hilarious. You're like, okay, y'all say it's like the best thing, but y'all seem fucking miserable to me. But I hear what you're saying is like, as a mass, like porn is definitely the place, especially right now, and it has been, where we're like, fuck it. Society doesn't like me anyway, you know? And maybe that is the difference of like, society had a thing against rock and roll performers. They had a huge thing against rappers. They were so racist and horrible to them. And now that culture has changed. And so those people and in those containers have changed. Whereas like in porn, we're still like, hey, you're trying to completely erase us. Right. Hey, like, you know, and I have so many people who are like, oh, well, why don't you think people have leaned into their South Asian identity? Because I'm like, hey, I'm not the first South Asian porn star. Yeah. I am not. I'm absolutely not. I'm not the first one who wore a sari and fucked in it. I'm not the first one who did any of this. I'm the first one who got a Brazzers ad. And I am, you know what? And I'm fucking taking it. I'm taking it. Fleshlight, you're next. Fleshlight is next.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. I mean, they're
You know,
yeah,
like if
yeah, yeah.
how about this? If I'm not the first South Asian fleshlight girl, I'm gonna cry. I will cry,
Well,
and only people who listen to this podcast will know that I cried. Um,
yeah.
but
Well,
that to say is you're right. There are a lot of like, hey, we have to stand up. Like a lot of trans women have to stand up to
hmm
a lot of societal things. A lot of POC people or BIPOC individuals have to stand up to this, you know. And I all the time I've heard people be like, well, you know, you have, I don't know, this handful of brown, you know, women
hmm
and they are porn stars. They're like, where's all the men? And I'm like, well, where do I see like a South Asian or brown man like in mass, you know,
yeah,
risking their neck, putting the work out there, showing up consistently and doing all these things to get on a set? Like,
yeah,
guess what?
yeah,
No one's going to invite you on your set until they can see that you do the work and that you can do it and that you're willing to make that risk, and you're probably not,
yeah.
because what will they say? What will people say?
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
And
I
you,
mean, that's not to cut you off at
no,
all, but like that's the biggest. I mean, you were in full cultural gear and you had the
yes,
Brazzers like look on your face, you know, and you had like
yes,
this giant dick like poking you in the cheek and like popping out of your mouth and whatever, and like that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that
and
is,
that
yeah. Anyway, go on.
no. That's all I wanted to say, because that it made such an impact the last 12 months in what people like. If that doesn't show that people are like into this kind of stuff, and you're literally the poster model for that now, because that poster went viral basically, you know.
Yeah,
That's got to
yeah.
feel great. Yeah, it's got to feel great.
It does. It feels really good. And again, to say that like I wasn't the first, I'm not the first in this generation. So it feels good to not only stand up and like be a person to help shine light that like this is such a big want, desire, need in the industry, but also to highlight all of the other people who are here who have
Yeah,
been paving that way, right?
yeah,
So it's been really, really
absolutely.
great. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Jasmine, that is fucking rock and roll.
That is
Like,
rock and roll,
yeah,
baby.
yeah. That is so rock and roll. That is so Black Sabbath. That is so like, you know, we want to. We mean rock and roll should make you horny and a little uncomfortable. That I mean, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I feel about it.
I have always been of the mind that like I like experiences that not only turn you on but make you be like, wow, I never thought that that would turn me on, and it's like a part of my brain that made my nether bits tingle. Like, you know, and maybe it doesn't make you uncomfortable, but maybe you're a little confused, right? And
Oh yeah.
those are the things that I hope to, that I know like it won't, that my everything that I deliver or make won't always do that, but there are things that I'm like, I hope that I continue to make those things that you're like,
Yeah.
you know what? Maybe I didn't think piss play was cool, but there was this one scene in this film that Jasmine produced or put together that
Mhm.
made it really pretty, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, and that's the other thing too, is like, you know, porn. There are these taboos, like, you know, if you, and again, I fucking say this every episode, and I don't give a shit. But like, if you go to Pornhub and you just click refresh on the trending page, you could do it for days, months, fucking years. The thing that is not right now that is not going to go away is like step anything, and this like you know this like faux incest bit, and then
Yeah.
also like MILF, and like now, you know, we're putting
MILF,
women.
teen,
Yeah,
IR,
yeah,
yeah, those are things
yeah,
that are going to be there forever.
yeah, and we're putting, you know, women's heads in toilets and fucking them, and we're like, you know, women are throwing up on the dick now. It's like we're getting more and more wild, and I think what people on the outside who just, you know, have a stick up their ass, and not in a good way, they're like, porn is making us want to fuck our daughters. And no, I listen, I feel, and you can, and now I can't wait for you to jump in, but I feel like porn is allowing you to explore things you wouldn't normally get to explore in a healthy, safe way, is how I feel about it.
Oh, I have things to talk about this. So,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
thing is when I graduated from nursing school, I decided that I was going to step into learning more about myself, my body, and my sexuality by really trying to jump all the way in as much as I could into kink and BDSM, which meant like going to classes, going to parties, meeting people, like trying different things. And one thing when it comes to fantasies or role play of like, oh, now you want to fuck your daughter because of this. Here's the thing. There have always been, and unfortunately probably always will be, horrible people who are doing bad things.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what this is for. That's not what this kink is for. That's not what this porn is for. This is for something that's very different. If someone has a daddy dom, little girl, like role play or dynamic, they don't want to fuck their dads. They don't want to fuck their daughters. They don't want to, like, again, you will always have bad people who want to do that. And guess what? Those people, like, more than likely or most likely are not the ones who are in porn.
No.
Because
no.
as soon as we find out you're doing that, everyone knows.
Yeah. And usually it's like, get him. You know what I mean? At that
Usually,
point.
like, unless, I don't know, like, unless they're like the president and they say that like they would fuck their daughter. But
Oh yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
who
That's
knows?
very
Who
true.
knows?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, there's no justice for that yet. Yeah. Well, I just think that, you know, there's so much that people just like, they might turn on the Team Skeet fucking daughter swap vid and be like,
Yeah.
this is weird, but you know what? I'm kind of horny. And then now they've unlocked this thing, and it's safe to scratch that taboo itch because it is taboo. They don't, and you know, they're not like following their daughter around the house like, I saw this scene, you want to fucking bring a friend over, and like, you know, it's it's not about that. And I just think the way that certain companies go about it is dope, because they present these scenarios that are so, and I feel like the writers of the scripts don't get enough credit, and you guys don't get enough credit as actors, because it's like, we just don't want to see you like hook up with the person you're not supposed to. We want to see this like subtle thing that like turns you, and like they nail it every time. Brazzers is a good example.
Yeah.
Pure Taboo, I mean, a fucking Adult Time is slaughtering it. Team Skeet is killing it. And so it's this really great psychological taboo itch that you're like, okay, you know. And I mean, what are your feelings on that? Like, do you see, you know, what I'm talking about in terms of like, you're in these scenes, you're doing stuff like this. So what is your feeling about it when you get a script, right? And you're like, this is wild. How am I going to do? Like, what's the wildest thing you've ever been cast as?
What are we calling wild? I mean,
well, wild for you.
I don't. Oh, this would
You're already
be
giving foot jobs in the hallway, but
yeah, I would say that was probably the wildest one, where I was like, okay, first put the rookie in and be like, foot job right now.
Foot jobs are tough. Yeah.
Yo, that was wild. In full garb, do a foot job, go, run.
Yeah. Faster. Yeah.
I mean, or like the wildest thing was, I don't know if they ever aired it, but I actually did, they call it pre-roll for Brazzers, and this was a while ago. And I feel like they have, because I've seen this outfit in their pre-rolls, and people have come to me on my sites and asked for it. I was like, that's not my video. There's actually no full video for this. But they actually gave me a script, and they were like, hey, can you do this like in Punjabi or Hindi as well? And I was like, oh, that's no, I was, by the way, I only speak English, but like that was wild in that sense. But as far as like scenarios, how do I turn this? I would say,
oh God, I hope this.
Okay, this one is only because of like how it was. If you want to say like the most taboo thing I've done was probably with Team Skeet. It was like me, Angel Gustosa, and it was all POV, where we're like, I think it was for like Dad Crush or something, you know, and it's like how they have those videos, it's like you piece by piece, right? Like first, like, oh, Dad has a problem. I have watched these videos. I do find them hot. I love that I'm in this one. Hope that y'all put out like a trailer of it, because I'm gonna, you know, go take care of business to it later. So I would say like that, but also like, and that was probably maybe like the most taboo thing that I've done. I think the hardest transition to find in between what I'm doing and how does this play into sex was probably Digital Playground. I started a feature for them, Ghosted. And so it was going from like horror and crying to sex, right? And it's like, how do you make some of this, like this grief, then go into passion? How do I, you know, how do we do that? How is like, hey, I just found out that my boyfriend that I thought just ghosted me is dead, and now I'm gonna go fucking suck this new guy. Like, how do I, like, what is that emotion change? What is the journey you go from this emotion to this emotion?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
how the fuck am I getting across that stream? What bridge am I building? And I think that is always the question with these scenarios, because even if it is something like, oh, I'm stuck in the dryer, or oh, I was surprised by dick or something, it's like it's Brazzers face, but then it's not just it's I'm surprised and you like it. It's consensual, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not surprised and, oh my God, please stop.
Yeah.
And that is always the journey that you have to think of, like, how does it go from here to here? And
Yeah.
where are you going with that?
Yeah. I mean, that's what a brilliant piece of fucking of knowledge to know. Because I mean, shit, like I'm to the point now where I mean, when I was like younger, I could just pull up anything and beat down to it and be like, "Wee" or whatever. But now it's like for me,
Yeah.
I
Whee!
yeah,
You need a
I,
script. You need a plot line that makes sense. He's like,
I
I want
do.
feminist porn. That's what I want.
I for me, I realized actually probably like not long after the fucking beat off to anything phase, I realized slowly that I needed like psychology. I needed some sort of scenario, and now that's like I need to fucking have a some sort of storyline, right? And
Does it have to be
you
like
know,
very believable? Does it have to
no,
be, is it a made up
no,
thing? Okay. I've
yeah,
definitely
no, no,
heard of
no.
people who are like, no, I need this to be believable. It can't just be like your arm is stuck and fucking you gets you unstuck. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
why not? It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the mood, I guess, but I just feel like that kind of porn for me personally, it just, even if it's goofy and like whatever, and we love Brazzers face, right? But it's still, there's an element to it that is believable because you guys are bringing that to it. It's like somehow you're nailing that, oh, well, you're my stepbrother, and like that's gross, but like I guess we could try. And then it's like, wait a minute, there it is. There's the hook.
I guess we could try. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
don't.
mean,
Yeah,
just don't go with that.
exactly right. And
Yeah.
so that to me, and then you get into some of the pure taboo stuff, and their stuff is like really well written over on
Is
Adult
it?
Time.
I have
Yeah, it's
not
like,
watched
I
it. I'll be
mean,
honest. I have no, I actually didn't watch a ton of porn before I started. And now I watch it mostly for research.
well, sure. Yeah,
No, if I get a scene, I
I
do. I
know,
look up
I
the
know.
thing, and like that is, I don't know what you
Mhm.
think I'm doing with the rest of my time, Dustin.
Well, I was gonna ask you because you said earlier, like I might have to do something to that. That was hot. Like, are you for your own stuff? Will you go and masturbate to your own content? Like
Yeah,
for Brad?
yeah.
Really?
If I
Okay.
like a scene, I'll masturbate to it. A lot of times what I'm doing is I'm watching more so I want to see my scenes and how I performed. So I
Hmm.
can tweak. So I can be like, hey, this is how I prepared. Sometimes like, especially in much earlier days and still depending, like I would set up a camera and I'd run through my lines and like my action points and things that I'd be like, okay, well, how did I look when I did that? Like I went over Brazzers' face before my second scene, like I mean, so many times, and just recorded myself over and over in these
Yeah.
different positions. And I was like, where do I need to pick up my head? Where do I need to do that? Okay, so then let me watch that scene back. How did that look? This is what I thought it was going to look like. This is what it looks like. This is what I need to do next time. Hey, how did
Yeah.
that, so a lot of my scenes are more me analyzing it, a
Yeah.
lot of watching other people's scenes to see like how they act, how they reposition is to do that. But there are some, especially I feel like with collabs. I've even had some collabs or scenes where I'm like, we fucked and it was good. It wasn't bad. I've even had one where I was like, wow, like this penis actually hurt. And I wasn't enjoying it as much as I wished I did. But when I rewatched it, I was like, this is so hot. Like, I actually do need to pause and go take care of myself before I can finish this. Like, I was like, that's wild. But there are a few that I'm like, this
Yeah.
one, yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna rewatch
Yeah.
that.
So it starts out with you like doing like looking to see how you did. You're watching the tape from the basketball game, pretty much, right?
Yeah,
And you're like,
yeah.
okay, I get it. This shot over here, whatever. You're like, God damn, now I'm turned on. Wait, why are you
Yeah.
pausing and taking care of it? You're not just taking care of it right there watching the video?
No.
Okay.
Usually not.
All
No,
right.
no, no. I'm not because at that point I'm not an analytical brain. I gotta go take
Yeah.
care of that, and then I gotta come back and be like, okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I can't
So
type notes to like make a summary and a description about my collab to sell to my fans if I'm jerking
yeah.
off. Like I'm not, I'm not like one hand typing, one hand diddling myself.
So you're pausing and then you're taking that memory with you into whatever room you're going into and just
Yeah.
blowing it out. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That
Now,
that
if it's late at night and I'm like, what do I want to look? And I'm like, that then I will bring that back up.
okay.
That's when that happens.
Are you thinking about yourself like this is what I was feeling during that scene, or are you thinking about like, oh, look at his reaction to what, or is it all of it that's getting you off later after the
All of
fact?
it. All of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that
No.
looks really hot. Like, depending, right? Because sometimes, like I said, like it'll be something where I'm like, wow, I don't think I enjoyed doing that as much as, and not that I didn't like it, right? But I was just like, that didn't feel as good as it looks.
Okay.
Like, wow, that penis hurt really bad in that position, but it looks so fucking hot. Like, oh, you know what? I will call you back.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's fucking fascinating because, people, in this business, it is sex and it is work and it is a thing, but also too, it's still sex and it can be very enjoyable or sometimes it's not, but there is this after effect we never talk about,
Yeah.
and I love that you're willing to go there. So in mainstream, what would you say are the like wildest things that you've done? I mean, has it mainly been boy girl, boy girl, or boy girl boy? Yeah, or like how crazy is it getting? How many people have been involved up until this point?
Up until this point in mainstream / my professional life, the most I've done is like a 3-way, right?
Okay.
So I've done boy girl and I've done girl boy, right? And that is different, very different from my personal life. And honestly, with as much, because also it's funny, I was like, as much kink and BDSM like paved this road for me to get here, I almost never do that on film. And I've had people who are like, why haven't you shot for kink? Why haven't you done this? I was like, well, they haven't reached out. No one's giving me a script that's like super kink laden. Maybe they don't see me in that light. I was like, it's also hard to push out any kink related content on like a lot of my biggest platforms are safe for work. They're Instagram, they're TikTok. And I was like, in the moment I post a video of me getting tied up in shibari, it comes down, even if I'm fully cloaked, because I've done that. I was like, I had a video and photos of me getting tied up in a sari and suspended in a forest, and they immediately got taken down and flagged. So, I mean, I feel like most of my stuff has been pretty tame. I would say the most overwhelming in a good way thing that I've done on screen was my first boy girl. And it was with Danny D and Xander Corvus.
Okay.
And it was just like I was like, wow, I was so over, like, I don't know if you're familiar with like subspace. I was basically put in a subspace because I was just like, I'm not here anymore. Like that scene finished and I was like, I had a great time, a ton of orgasms. And I was like, I could not fucking tell you what happened other than one time when I double tap for like my nonverbal because I couldn't talk at the moment. And I couldn't talk to the point of like air. I was like being air starved and I was like, I need out. And I like just reached over and like slapped twice onto like Xander's chest. And so because I did it so big and like wild, everyone thought that like, they were like, oh, I'm sorry. Like you must have been trying to tap out before this. And I was like, no, I just couldn't fucking breathe. And I was like, I couldn't tap the other person because I was afraid he'd fall over because he's standing on a couch and I didn't want us to all die. At least I didn't want any of us to die. I didn't want to die. I didn't want him to die. I was like, I'm sorry I gave you a precordial thump. Like, you could have died. My bad.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably like the wildest thing so far I've done professionally.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it. Yeah. It sounds like it was like a human pretzel of death
It
that
was,
that you avoided.
but
Yeah.
it was beautiful. And I was like, wow, I was like, good job, team. Good job. I
Yeah.
crawled up some stairs and I slid into a bath and I just like stared at a wall in a bubble bath for probably an hour after that.
Yeah, that's subspace. That's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck do I just load her into the
Yes.
in the
Yes. I
bathtub
was
and
just
leave
like,
her alone? Yeah.
oh.
So but that wasn't like a DP scene or anything, was that?
No.
Okay.
I have not done anal.
Okay. And in that scene, like when they are coming, where did they come? Inside you, on your face? Do you remember? I love
I
that. Yeah.
don't. Oh my God, that's
Yeah, you were
embarrassing.
no, a lot of people have that answer.
I was like, I have no. I know. I mean, to be fair, I feel like I remember a fair amount of my pro scenes, like where they
Sure.
came,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I have no idea. No
Um
clue.
okay, do you think are you open to doing anal DP gangbangs down the line, or sooner or later, or you're not sure?
I don't know if I'm open to anal. I don't know.
Okay.
That is still like I have so many people that have asked for it, and I was like, yo, if I ever do anal, it's got to be the biggest fucking debut ever. Um, because yeah,
Yeah.
has been asked for it, and I was like, hey, I was like, is there a possibility? I was like, can I get gangbanged and not have anal? And I think like you can, right?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I think that's what people want to see. They want to see the DP of this gangbang. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know. I guess I'll have to do my own like run a train on me OnlyFans collab, which isn't like, oh no, not me getting to be the center of attention of a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
Fuck. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the I mean, so have you done anal in your personal life and you're just not a fan?
I have not, and
Oh, okay.
I don't like I've had someone put like a finger in or a butt plug, and I just don't. It's not my thing.
Not your thing. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
my thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like
Well,
it.
I mean, yeah, that's also what's great about sex work is you find out real quick because they're
What
asking
you
for
like?
everything. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for
and you're like,
sure.
what do you want? What's your yes? What's your no? Yeah,
Yeah.
it then becomes sometimes a little, yeah, you're like, I don't know. And then you're like, oh, I find out real quick what my yes and my no is. Yeah. Yes, no, yes,
Yeah.
no.
Well, in porn, it's not like we've got this guy, he's 2 inches, that we're gonna use him for anal. Like, no, we got this guy, he's like 11 inches, and
Yeah.
it's going in your ass, and
Yeah.
what? So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
there's that, yeah. Okay, so the BDSM kink side of you that was there before porn. I mean, I think, and you're right, people do, I don't want to say pigeonholed in porn, but it does happen where you get cast as like the stepmom forever, and then you have to do something wild to break that sort of whatever, or this daughter or whatever it is. But the BDSM kink thing, like, I think if you did a scene with kink.com, because you are who you are, like in this interview, you're like fun and intelligent and funny and horny and all the things,
Yeah.
and
Thanks. That's so sweet.
well, it's just true. Like
Also, how do you know I'm intelligent?
because of your answers to these questions. Come on,
I was like,
yeah.
I don't think I've used one big word today.
No, your intelligence level is up there, and I'm lucky that I get guests like you who are all of these things, right? But I even interviewed you on the red carpet at AVN, and your ability to like get horny and wild and also still be like intelligent and just very like, I didn't want to let you go on the red carpet. I felt like we could have talked for like an hour because we were just riffing about fucking strippers and whatever. You'll see it
Love
when you watch
strippers.
the AVN special. Yeah. But so I feel like a scene for those reasons.
Yeah.
I feel like a scene on kink.com where they're like taking Jasmine, the fun, funny, smiling, intelligent woman and bolting her ass into some fucking machine or something would go hard as fuck, and I think that, potentially
Dustin.
would be a giant leap, for your career. But it sounds like you were already doing these kink and BDSM things, like, you know, in your personal. So if you want to talk about your experience with that, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also surprised that you only, I guess, like mentally cast me as a sub. I'm a switch.
Oh,
How dare
well,
you?
see,
How dare you? I was like, oh,
well, we learn as we move forward. That's why we don't like to over research. So it could be you bolting some other
Look,
person
I'm
in.
down to both. I'm down to both. I think I have also been cautious in some things of like, for a few reasons of portraying things on film, because it's like, yeah, once you go there, it's like, I don't know if I want, actually, I know I don't want all of my kinks out there on film.
Yeah.
Like, they don't need to be. Some of them are just for me, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And then, like, how might people approach me differently? But yeah, in my own personal life, like I said, hi, I'm Jasmine. I'm a switch. Um, some of my first and most experience actually came from and with a partner who was more submissive. And like I would walk him on a leash, and like he had a collar. I'd walk him like through music festivals on a leash. Like when I tell you, when you have a man on a leash in public in a crowd, the crowd parts. It fucking parts. They're like, tiny brown woman leading a white man on a leash is coming through. Get the fuck
Yes.
out of her way. I don't know why this is happening, but I definitely don't want to fuck with that bitch on who's carrying the man on the leash. And
Yeah.
don't make eye contact with her, or do make eye contact with her. Like, I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
So I definitely had that. So yeah, I want to say, like, I don't know, my craziest experience though in kink would have been mm, my most memorable, and the one that I would love to turn into a scene. I went to a sex party with a partner. We were playing, we were doing various things. We, you know, played with this person, that person, and then it was closer to maybe the end of the night. The crowd's thinning a little. There was one bed in like the main play space that had a cage at the foot of the bed, and we're going at it. And he was really good at like noticing people
Yeah.
around and being like, I see you looking, you can come over here. Or, hey, she like, because he was also like, hey, like, she likes to be watched, I like to be watched, like, come watch. Like, you don't have to be shy, you don't have to kind of glance, like, continue glancing. So he calls this woman over, she's beautiful, and then she starts playing with us, and then she says like, hey, my husband is in this other side room and he's a cuck, and like he is like my collared cuck boy. And I was like, oh my God, I would love, let's go get him. I love cucks. Like, I love them. What? And like, literally, she sends me into this room, and her and my partner are just kind of in the doorway on each other. And I walk up to him, and I'm like, hey, like, is that your wife? And he's like, yes. And I was like, well, she said that you'll do whatever she says. Is that true? And he goes, yes. And I said, well, she said that you have to listen to me and you're going to come this way. And we bring him out. We end up putting him in the cage while we're fucking her and talking like mad shit to him. And the other thing is, like, my partner had never, I guess, like, he wasn't well versed in cuck things. Like, he's saying, so he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm fucking her tight pussy. And I was like, that's actually not what he wants to hear. And I know that's not what he wants to hear. What he wants to hear is that your dick is so big and his dick is so little and tiny. And that he should be so fucking embarrassed and all this stuff. And that, like, you're going to fuck her pussy until like it's ruined, and his tiny little dicklet will never be able to do anything. And like, we're going at it, like verbally degrading him. And then I get up and I go into another room and I get like these toys and I start like flogging his cage and like spitting on him and just going in. And then eventually we move into another room where there's like a sex swing, and I put on like a really big strap, and I make him get my strap ready and suck it while he's watching his wife get fucked. And then we go and Eiffel Tower her
Oh
until she taps
shit.
out. And afterwards we went and we laid back on like the big bed in the main area and like got water. And I remember her husband, this man, like gives me a hug and tells me that like, he's like, thank you so much, you have such a kind and generous heart, this was the best night, I'll never forget this. And I was just like, I was so fucking mean to you for you
Yeah.
to tell me that, like, you're so kind.
Yeah, it's
I was
wild.
like, I don't know what about that, like, maybe it was because he was just like, you know, you really gave me what I wanted. that to him
Yeah.
is kindness. I don't know. But I would say that that was one of my wilder kink experiences.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's yeah.
And something that I was like, I never thought I would be in the position to do that. And it was
Mm,
never something that went in my mind that I was like, you know what? I want to find a fucking hot wife with a cuck husband, and I want to cuck the shit out of him and like humiliate him and like beat him and do these things. And then like, I would have never thought about that fantasy until it happened. And
yeah.
now I'm like, yeah, that is like minted in my brain. It was so hot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hot. Yeah.
So that's another one you're masturbating to. Got it.
It
Yeah.
does a lot to me mentally. I feel like
Yo,
there are some
yeah.
things that like, do I masturbate to it? It's probably one of the first thoughts or something that gets me to a point
Hmm.
that I'm like, ooh, that's hot. And like, I'd be so turned on doing it. But I don't know.
Right.
I'm not like rubbing one out to that. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of
yeah. I
like,
think
it's like forced sissification. Like I've done it. I've like made someone be a sissy and like all these things. And like, it does a
mhm.
lot more for me intellectually
Yeah.
to degrade someone in that way.
Yeah, it's when you yeah, I'm totally in agreement. When you can be the one, even it's not even well for me, but you can tie someone up and you can like kind of like, fuck with them, and you can be really like in their ear, like saying shit and like
Yeah.
degrading and like demeaning and like
Sorry.
all of the all of the things, and you're not doing anything. Like I'm not doing anything at that point. Like with my dick, it's not like it's
No.
not. But in here and in here, and in my dick, it's like I'm activated and turned on. So I totally understand. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just some of my favorite shit to do. Yeah, I
And
love
there
that.
are even so many people who practice kink and BDSM that like it's never sexual for them. It's not like physically like with their genitals sexual for them, you know?
Yeah,
And
sure.
I think
Yeah,
that that's a big part. And to be fair, in porn, that's usually not what we're focusing on. But I was like, in general, when people
right.
think about kink, that is a part that very, very much gets neglected. Um,
Yeah,
but it
yeah, for sure.
happens. But yeah.
So how do you think you discovered your kink BDSM side? Like, was there something you saw and like when early on, like before porn, and you were like, "Oh, damn, that's hot," or did someone introduce you to it, or how did it happen for you?
Oof, how did it happen? I
Origin
think I
stories. Yeah.
had, in my very like beginning early stages of exploring my sexuality, there were partners I had that did, light things of like slapping, a little biting, maybe light choking. Honestly, I can't really remember, but like things
Sure.
like that to make me be like, oh, I like to be handled maybe a little rougher sometimes. And then I had some friends. I was married pretty young, like straight out of high school. And we had friends who were exploring kink and non-monogamy, and my partner wasn't into either of those things. I really wanted to explore them. And it was something that I was like, okay, like, so once I graduated nursing school and that relationship ended and I was getting divorced, I was like, I no longer have someone telling me I can't do that. I want to learn about it. And I was like, I want to learn about it in a safe and controlled way so I don't hurt myself, I don't get hurt, and I don't hurt anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
from there, it was trying to realize, like, hey, how do I figure out safely what I like? Because what is not safe is just telling anyone like blanket consent.
Yeah.
And you learn that really quickly. You learn that quickly if you give anyone blanket consent. You're like, oh, wow, there are bad injuries and bad things are happening. Because anyone also who takes blanket consent is not a good person.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and
Uh,
you do need some real, like a real safe word. Like it's not just a joke. Like you have to have a safe word.
yeah. And from there, from taking classes and kind of exploring with some partners that maybe were even more casual, just kind of being like, hey, what are you into? What are you into? Seeing it, like I went to one BDSM class where they had like three different tops that came in and talked, right? And like one was electro,
Yeah.
one was wax, one was impact. And then the next time it was like rope, impact, electro. Seeing those things and being like, okay, this is something when you go to a class like that and you're like, okay, well, what's electroplay? And now I have like a well-knowledge top who can like be like, hey, this is how it feels. And I was like, oh, you know what? Not for me. Let me go try this one. Let's see if I like this. Let's see if I like
Yeah.
that. Or
Yeah.
I would put it on my dating profiles. And that would sometimes get some interesting people, like my forced sissification interaction. He was this guy, because I had it on my, oh my God, I had it on my profile, my Tinder page. It was like, I'm vanilla and you need to be too. Or like, I'm not vanilla and you shouldn't be either. And people would think, if they didn't know what kink was, I meant like, you should be white. Or like, you can't, or like, I don't date white people. And I found out on the date with a white guy who was like, so you said this, why'd you go on a date with me? And I was like, this is now an awkward spot. This is not really awkward.
Yeah.
It's not the color of your skin, honey.
Yeah. I didn't mean vanilla ice, bro.
Yeah, that wasn't it. But I ended up matching with this guy he was like over 6 foot tall, muscular, looks like a lumberjack. Like you're very like, I'm like very handsome, attractive, conservative type looking man.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out he was into SPH and forced sissification and forced bi and all these things. And I was like, all right, I'll try that out. Like, what does that look like for you? What, like, yeah, like explain, like walk me through like what that looks like for you. And I can see if that, if I can itch that scratch or not. And yeah, he ended up coming over with all of his stuff and we did itch that scratch. And I was like,
Nice.
genuinely, able to do that. And I was like, all right, like that's the thing.
So when did it dawn on you like, oh shit, like I'm not only the dom, I'm also the sub, like I'm a switch. When did that happen? Or did you always know that?
I think I always knew that. I think going into it, I knew more, even in my very limited experience, it was more about like me being subby. And then I was like, well, I like the idea of having more control, like really quickly.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to explore that more. And I don't know why, but it just seemed like guys who were subs were just like, hi, hi, hello, hello. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like, I love a good subby boy,
Yeah.
I do.
No, that's great. I love that you're, that the thing is it's just more knowledge about you, and that then lends itself to, even if you're not doing those things in, porn performances or whatever, it's still more knowledge about yourself. Like if you're performing or if you're having sex with someone or whatever, it always is better to have this like internal kind of,
Yeah, it does.
understanding of
It
what
does.
the fuck you're. Yeah.
I think it's funny. I've definitely done, like recently I filmed a scene with one of my friends and she is very naturally subby. Like I don't feel like she has a very dominant bone in her body. And to be fair, I did write this script and it did call for her for me to be submissive and her to be a little more domineering. And but it was like so hard to get this out of her because she's like, well, you're supposed to play by the house rules. And then she's like, and I'm like, what are the house rules? She's like, I don't know. What are the house rules? I'm like, oh my God, you can't know. I was like, that's not it. You're supposed to tell me. You're supposed to be the big girl. Like,
Yeah.
we can't fight for subness here. Not in this scene. But I will say also, like, I've had partners who are also switches, and I think that's fun to play with.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, you're right. Just knowing that about myself and what I'm able to offer or not offer, I think is always a good piece of information.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck yeah. I mean, it makes you more, I don't know, accessible to yourself, I think is where I'm coming from, because it gives you that confidence to kind of go this way or go that way, or, pause the tape and go masturbate because you feel like you want to or whatever. But
I think the best way to put it is it's like knowing your own boundaries. And when we look at boundaries, I like the analogy of like my boundaries are a map. And this is where I can meet you. And if I know where I can meet you and you're outside of those boundaries, well, I'm so sorry, I can't actually meet you there. And if you know those things and you've written your map, you've drawn it up, then someone who comes in and is like, but I want to go here. You're like, no, not there. Yep. Not over there. Anywhere actually, but there.
Yeah. I'm not the one.
Yeah. It's not for me.
So okay, what is your OnlyFans? And I don't know, like, you on OnlyFans, Fansly, Loyal Fans, like you on all the places, or is just primarily OnlyFans, or
I am on OnlyFans and I'm on Fansly. I also have a UView, which is Pornhub's like thing.
new thing?
It,
Yeah.
that has not taken off, but I do have content on there. Like I have
Okay.
absolutely zero fans on there, but I'm like, I'm there. I'm there.
Well, I mean, that's the first time I've heard of that platform. So, maybe that's the problem, but good things take time.
Yeah.
What does your content look like on your OnlyFans?
Okay. I tried to have a schedule. So I would say like it's more teasing, it's chill. I have a fair amount of solos. I actually just realized that I have more solos than I thought I did. I've been trying to start more clip sites where I'm like, and I was like, I'll start with my solos. And then like one of my clip sites, I think there's like 20 solos that are already uploaded on there. And I'm like, Jesus, I had no idea. Like I'm still making solos like every couple of weeks. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't know. We're just gonna keep trying. We're gonna see if it gets better. But I do try every week to have like a foot fetish, like whether it's a little clip or a photo, something that's geared towards feet. I try. I think we're probably on the bigger gap that I have is I'm trying to do strap Sundays. And I
Okay.
just think there isn't a ton of inspiration to be like, what do I do with a strap? Like, because logically, anything I do with anything else, I can do with the strap on. I can make you a JOI with the strap on. I can give you SPH with the strap on. I can, be a girl. I can be a boy. But I think that's maybe my biggest gap. But I mean, mostly you have regular solos. You have solos with me in like South Asian gear, and there's, sex tapes, girls, boy, girls, girl boys, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Yay.
that's so there's a lot to choose from. And you can take it, it sounds like it's player's choice which
It
way they
is.
want to go with it.
It is.
And when I say this, I always want to preface it because I love this question, but it's not. Would never king shame anyone. I would never yuck anyone's yum. But like we'll try to use some good words, some different words here. But what is the wildest / strangest request you've gotten on OnlyFans?
How about this? I will tell you, I never want to yuck anyone's yum. I
Yeah, I
do
think
think
wild
though
and strange is good.
yeah, the most wild, strange, and disrespectful request I've ever gotten.
Okay.
Because also I don't think a lot of people when they're coming at you realize like, I can tell you have these kinks and you have maybe never practiced them. And if you have not practiced them consensually because you are not asking me the right questions before you come to me on this.
Mm-hmm.
If you are
Mm-hmm.
asking me for a custom and it involves kinks, then you should be asking me if I engage in these types of kinks or plays, right? Especially when I first posted to Pornhub ever, I got so many race play requests. And I was like, you guys, I don't do race play. I'm so sorry. And even
Yeah.
like, I've had to kind of like give people the spiel of like, because they're like, well, you do stuff in a sorry. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not race play. Like no one's ever calling me names. We're not including this, and that's not happening.
Right.
Um, so the weirdest or wildest one is they started out their request, but they were like, do you do customs? And I was like, yes. How much are your customs? Well, they run from this. Okay, well, I want a like 4-minute custom with a book. And I was like, okay, what do you want me to do to the book? And they're like, well, I want you to like ride the binding of the book. And I was like, okay, dope. And they're like, okay, well now, oh, I want you to ride the binding of the book. I want you to open it, spit in it, take a piece of paper out of it, like a page, wipe your ass and like smear it all over this book. And I was like, all right, bet. Like, okay, at $100 a minute, I'll do that for $400. Let's go. And then I'm like, okay, what book do I want to use that I want to disrespect and that I'm kind of okay actually having to buy to disrespect and do this with? And then they were like, I have a certain request. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, you didn't lead with it. You buried the lead. And I was like, you better not. You better not. And where do you think this one's going? What do you
Oh,
think
the
it's going?
Bible or something, right?
They asked me to do it with the Quran.
Oh, fuck. I should have fucking
And
known
I
that.
was like, I went off on this person so hard and I publicly posted it. And I remember someone being like, you're kink shaming them. I was like, I'm actually not. I was like, fuck you. I'm not kink shaming them. And let me tell you why I'm not kink shaming them. I was like, because if someone actually came to me with a real kink, I was like, he would have asked me if I did race play. He would ask me if I did religion play. And if I,
Yeah.
because I'm going to say no to both of those because I don't do them. So fuck you. Because I was like, you're disgusting. Your mother should be like ashamed that you were ever born. Like, they're like, oh, like I really went in on this person. Because again, I'm just like, it just brought so much anger that I was like,
Yeah.
also for you to come and cross this boundary, because again, here's my boundary and you never asked. And then I'm like, if I did do that, you could so easily literally get me like murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could like there will now be a price for my head. My family
Yeah.
will now seriously be in danger. Like how could you? Like that is yeah, I would say that would be the wildest request. I have had very detailed and interesting requests. I've had what I feel like I'm like these people must either have they like you may either you only get off to this very specific thing or you are actually like a script writer or you're from a studio or something because people will be like I need this angle, I need this, I need to see all the shoes that you have, I need to see like I even had someone ask me to get dressed and do hair and makeup in a certain way and then give them pictures of front and back so they could adjust like how you would do like if I go to set and we're doing wardrobe that's what you do and I was like I'm not doing that at no point in time am I giving you my this is already going to take half a day to get ready for. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be at your beck and call waiting on OnlyFans before I film your so like your like custom that's going to take 2 hours already like stop.
So they wanted to get you to get ready in full hair and makeup and then just wait for
Hair,
their
makeup,
instructions.
wardrobe, shoes, jewelry, take photos, make sure that it's all right, send it to them. That way, if they have any tweaks they want to make, they will let me know. Yeah.
God, Jesus
Like,
Christ.
and one thing is like on one hand, I think it has helped me to be a better performer with some of these individuals who have had like very elaborate scripts, shots, emotions that they want me to go through.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because I'm like, okay, well, y'all are really giving me effing script work. Let's go.
Hmm.
Like, but on the other hand, and to be fair, like they usually give me great inspo to do other things and or they resell really well. But it is also very frustrating. I'm just like, wow, like you really just want me to go back and forth about dangling my shoe?
Yeah.
Like, and being a
Yeah.
secretary on her lunch break? Okay, got it. Got it. Like, bet.
Yeah. I mean, people. It's a. I mean, just to deal with the customer client interaction and back. I mean, just that alone is a fucking grind, and that's why I like can't stand people who are like, oh, these OnlyFans girls are making so fucking easy to do. Yeah, I'd like to see you try, and
Yeah.
then once you build a huge following, then they want specific things, and that's great. But some are harder to communicate what they want. Some take a lot. It's like it's a lot. It's a lot of work. Here at the end, I do want to ask you, one big final question, and then we'll get to where everybody can find you and all the things. And maybe this question will turn into another question. Who the fuck knows? It's Sex Party. This is what happens when we have great guests. What can you say about what's coming for you in 2025? Because I just feel like you're up to something. I just get this vibe that you're up to something. Like
Why'd you
you're
get
either
that? Why'd you get
I don't
that?
know. This is
What
literally
makes you say
come.
that?
This
Is this your gut, your intuition?
Yes, this is my intuition. This is not any inside information. I swear.
What's your
But
Myers-Briggs type?
wait, what?
What's your Myers-Briggs type? You don't know?
I don't. I used to know, and I totally fucking
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Anyway, sad.
But I just have this gut feeling like you're up to something, and maybe you could just like tease what you've already shot, or maybe what you're going to shoot, or what you're in negotiations. Like, there's got to be something that you're not
Ah.
saying. A little tease for 2025. I feel like I'm close right now.
You are
Okay.
close.
Okay.
There are some things that I have brewing for myself. There are some hopes and wishes and some dreams that I have. Um, some offers, some non-offers, some about some offers, and then some offers that I'm like, please, I hope this happens.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't know how much research you did. Probably not much. I know you said you just read the write-up that
Yeah.
Erica sends. I got named Foreplay Films first ambassador, so I'll be partnering with them, I think, a fair amount
Congratulations.
more, and kind of like hopefully making a lot more of like my hopes, my wishes, and my dreams come true on sets and with films. And that is also very much and aligned with what I am trying to do more of in 2025. I kind of paused a little on studio work for the past few months to focus on myself and my life. But while I've been doing that, I have been partnering with a videographer and a small, team here in New Orleans, and myself included on that team, obviously, and like writing scripts and like making more high level, like studio
Hmm.
quality, like solos and like collabs. And that is my hope, that I can have some bigger and better things to not just bring to my fan sites, but hopefully on other platforms as well. So I'd say that's
Oh.
the thing. Who knows? Maybe Jasmine will be directing in the next few years. Who knows? Who knows? I definitely want to work more on my script writing. There are definitely some ideas that I have that I'm like, oh, wow, I love this. I actually don't think that's for me,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I think that is another point of like, wow, I think I, have half of a script written, and I'm like, actually, I don't think I need to be in this scene at all, but I think I would like to pitch this to this place,
Yeah.
or yeah, there
Yeah.
is
That's
there is a big project I want to work on, and I have done about one step on towards that,
okay.
but
Yeah.
that one would be much more secretive, also because I wouldn't want to ruin it for myself if it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
yeah.
mean, that's the intuitive vibe I was getting, is that, you are someone who you seem a very like puppet mastery to me, where you might be obviously, and you've won all, or you've been nominated for so many awards in such a short time,
It has
and
been
you've done
insane.
all. Yeah, and congratulations on that. That's
Thanks.
fucking. I read that list. I'm like, God damn. So that's huge. But then you have this sort of, again, like fun, but you kind of come across like, what you want. You mentioned, you know, whether you realize it or not, or maybe I was just picking up on like telepathic vibes, like the directing thing. Let's like stop kidding around. Like that's gonna happen at some point. We all know
I,
it.
I
At least
hope
I know.
so. I hope
Yeah.
so. I would love to eventually step into directing. Do I think that's in the next 5 years? No. Do I think it might be after that? That's the hope. Um, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah. You would
think
crush as a director.
I hope so. I think I've had really amazing directors. I've had some really, really great directors that I would love to shadow and that I would love to work with, or, things that I'm like, oh, wow, I see this company does this. Like Foreplay, for one of my scripts, like she brought in like an acting coach to work with us on
Hmm.
some of our scripts for certain like things, or you'll get like dialect coaches. And I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think, yeah, anyway, I guess thanks. Thanks.
Yeah, I just feel like you have some wild scenes coming, but then also some creative projects where maybe, and I feel like if you're thinking already, like, hey, that's not for me, but it's for someone else, I feel like that's you tapping into your artistic, dominant, kinky side and being like, I'm going to take this person with their consent and put them through the ringer, and it's going to be beautiful and horny, and like, we're going to make this thing or whatever. I can totally feel that. And I just, I feel like you're gonna have a big couple of years coming up. So
Thank you,
yeah.
Dustin. If anything, I'd say like, yeah, being nominated for a lot of awards has been very validating. I know I shouldn't put everything on it because there are so many amazing people who have never been nominated for an award, who have never won an award. But when I look at my peers and other people who are nominated, around me, and the community of people that I'm like, you are either nominated or you are winning. What are you doing? And what I
Yeah.
see over and over again is that no matter what it is, it's like these people are really doing meaningful work for them. And they're
Hmm.
like, hey, this is where I shine. And this is how, like, even if we're all doing the same thing, they're doing it their way. And I think that they are great shining lights for me and so much inspiration. And that's what I try to think, like, okay, what can I do for me? And like, even you saying, like, oh, creatively, like, one hope is for me, and I do try like a couple of times a year, but maybe a little more than a couple of times a year this year, to do something I always have a couple of projects scattered out where I'm like, this might make me $0, or I know it's going to make me $0. Like, right, doing a shibari shoot is going to make me $0. So whatever I'm paying for a set, a photographer, or my shibari artist, I am negative, but it brings me joy and it helps me be creative.
Yeah, no, I think,
So
and I think that's so important. You can't just, I don't know. And even for me, like doing a podcast, like there's guests that I want that I'm like, my audience is probably going to reject some of this. And I'm like, I
yeah,
don't care. I'm going to still book that guest because
it's
it
meaningful for
is,
you.
yeah. And that's just the whole thing of being like a creative person, like putting out, I mean, how many times can you go back in history and look at like, I'm doing this one
Yeah.
and the record label's like, no, you can't put out a fucking Mr. Hendrix. You can't put out, not like I'm not saying I'm Jimi
Yeah.
Hendrix, but
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
even the greats, you know, have had pushback on stuff and they've done it for themselves. And it's, again, it's like, you know, rock and roll. Jasmine Sherni,
Yeah.
thank you so much for
Thank
being on the
you.
show
Thank
with
you.
me.
Yay.
Let's tell these horny, super like glued to their device of choice for this podcast. They're like, where do I go to follow her on all the socials?
Where do I go?
Where can they go to, like, most importantly, where can they go and just dump, you know, big garbage bags full of cash on you?
Oh my God. If anyone wants to send me any, like a huge Venmo, Cash App, anything like that of a bunch of money, that is the biggest way to get my attention. I'll just throw that out there.
There you go.
The first thing that I think will be most memorable and easiest for everyone to spell is allbadbitchesgotoheaven.com. Will bring you straight to my OnlyFans.
We love
On
that.
that is linked to all my socials as well. But you can find me at Jasmine Sherni, JasmineSherni.com, or you can go to Jasmine Sherni _ on Twitter, on Instagram, Jasmine Sherni 2.0. I am on all of the apps. I mean, just type in my name and you will quickly see which one is me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. It's been a pleasure having you. I
Awesome.
wanted to get
Thank
you on the
you.
show for a long time. I'm glad we finally did it.
Thank you so much for having me, Dustin.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back. I'll chat with you in a second about it when we fucking stop recording. But
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Big thank you to my guest, Jasmine Sherni, for being with me on the show this week. Make sure you go check out everything she is doing, not only on social media, but go, you know, get your credit cards ready, go over to her OnlyFans, buy some content, spend some money, enjoy yourself, get some custom requests in there. If you are loving guests like Jasmine, you want to see her again, she will be back on the show. We had an awesome time collabing. We've already talked about her coming back in a couple of months and giving us an update on some of the things that we may have teased in this episode. But let's say you're just loving all of the guests. You're loving Sex Party and you don't want to miss a party every week. You want to make sure you're here. You want to make sure you never miss out. You also perhaps want to show some love for the show. How can you do that? Well, if you're listening to this on platforms like Apple and Spotify, you could leave a rating. You could leave a review. I would love that. I would appreciate that. It's amazing, but honestly, I think it's a waste of your time. What you really want to do is you want to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you never miss a brand new episode every single week, especially if you're subscribed or you think you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts. They've been doing some weird thing where they're unsubscribing people from certain shows for whatever reasons we don't know. So go to Apple Podcasts, go to Sex Party with Dustin Rybka. In the upper right-hand corner, if you see a check mark, you're good to go. You're still subscribed. Everything is aces. If you see a pause button or anything else, tap it. Drop down menu will appear. Toggle on down to resume subscription, resume downloads. Boom, you're resubscribed. If you're watching on YouTube, I love you. I see you. I appreciate you. If you're watching on YouTube, do you consider yourself a dom, a sub, or a bit of a switch? Maybe you're into both. Let me know in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, how can you show some love, some desire, some hatred, maybe even for the show? Well, you could like this video, you could dislike this video, you could do that to all the videos. You could leave a positive comment or a negative comment on all the videos. I will respond back. We will have a back and forth, whether it's positive or negative. But the main thing that you want to make sure you do is subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new episode every single goddamn fucking Wednesday. As always, I'm available in the DMs on Instagram, and I will see you all right back here next week.
Thanks for listening. The party continues next week. Click subscribe and let's make this a regular thing. Follow the show on Instagram and Twitter at SexPartyFM. Follow Dustin at Dustin Rybka.